You're not going to believe these Christmas makeovers. I'm transforming old decor and Dollar Tree pieces into high-end looks that could totally pass for Magnolia, West Elm, or Crate and Barrel. I've got 8 very different DIYs, from elegant and classic to whimsical and cozy, all super easy and budget-friendly. And just like my last few DIY videos, I'm giving away some of my projects. So make sure you're subscribed and comment below which one's your favorite. Every comment counts as an entry. Now grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's dive in. This DIY was inspired by Crate and Barrel Antique Verdigris Reindeer. While that aged patina look isn't for everyone, you can easily customize it. I went for more of an antique brass finish, where their version leans copper and bronze. I'm using 2 Dollar Tree reindeer, one of the acrylic shelf sitters. Those are usually hard to find, and the more common glittered ornament that feels a bit like fabric. First, I gave both a coat of black paint. You could actually stop here. They already look elegant, but I wanted to add more depth. Once dry, I realized the ornament-style reindeer didn't stand on its own, so I added small wood slice bases. I stained them with Waverly Dark Wax and set them aside to glue on later. For the antique brass effect, I mixed a little milk chocolate and Java chalk paint with some antique gold leaf rub and buff. That combo tones down the gold and makes it look more like brass. On the acrylic deer, I dabbed and wiped with a sponge, leaving some black showing through. On the fabric textured one, I used more of a wiping motion because it soaked in differently. Next came my favorite part, the verdigris layer. I mixed some different greens and turquoise paint together until I liked the tone. I started dabbing with a sponge, but I felt it was going on too heavy, so I grabbed one piece of damp paper towel and one dry piece. I felt like this gave me more control and subtle aging. I wiped and dabbed until I was happy. On camera, it looks a touch more green than in person, but I love how they turned out. Once everything dried, I glued them to their bases, and that's it. And here's the final look. 2 high-end Crate and Barrel inspired reindeer for just a few dollars. If you love them too, let me know in the comments. You might just get an early Christmas present. Now let's move on to the next DIY. This one might just be my favorite transformation yet. This next DIY was inspired by the flocked ornaments I've been seeing everywhere, and they can get really pricey. But with a little know-how, you can take old ornaments you were ready to toss and turn them into trendy, high-end ones for just pennies. And the best part, it's so easy. First, grabbed a few of my old ornaments and attached them to the wood skewers I saved from my last DIY. Perfect for painting. I gave them a quick coat of gray primer, but you can use whatever you have. The goal is to prep the surface so the paint sticks easier without multiple coats. Once they were dry, it was time to give them a coat of paint. I had 2 colors ready for this batch, a dark brown and a tan. So you will paint an ornament, and then while it's wet, pour or spoon on baking soda. I used an old container to catch the remaining baking soda so I could reuse it on the next one. You want to make sure the ornament is very well covered. Then you tap off the excess, but very gently. Once they were all painted and coated with baking soda, I allowed them to dry for about 4 hours. Then it was time for the magic. Using a soft paintbrush or even a makeup brush, I started brushing away the baking soda. And look at this. They turned out so good. I'm honestly in awe. You'd never know these weren't designer ornaments. I can't believe how well this worked. I'm actually probably going to be flocking everything now. And just a last couple of quick steps. I added the hooks back, and then I painted them with some leftover rub and buff and paint from the previous DIY. And for the hanger, I used suede cord I had in my stash. It's super inexpensive and you get tons. I've got mine off of Amazon, and I'll make sure to link it below. And look how beautiful, no matter how you style them. Simple, modern, and so high-end on a budget. They are so versatile and really fit any decor. These would make wonderful gifts too. Is this one you're going to try? I honestly can't wait to make another batch in different colors. And next up, another fast, elegant DIY you can make with just a few Dollar Tree supplies. This next DIY was inspired by a strawberry candy ornament I spotted on the Magnolia website. So when I spotted this candy-shaped ice cube tray at Dollar Tree, I knew we could make our own version, a classic peppermint candy perfect for Christmas. The supply list is simple: the Dollar Tree candy mold, hot glue, and red and white paint. I added a little glitter, totally optional, but it adds that festive sparkle. Start by filling your mold all the way to the top with hot glue. Give it a few gentle taps and release all the air bubbles. I even tried a couple of the candy cane shapes just to see how they'd turn out. Once the glue cools, it only takes about 15 minutes. Start peeling away the mold and you will have perfectly shaped peppermints and candy canes. The candy canes did have one solid area that was tricky to paint, so if you have a creative idea for that spot, definitely let me know in the comments. Next, I gave the peppermints a quick coat of white spray paint. You could use acrylic paint instead. I just wanted something quick and easy. Once dry, I went in with red stripes, let it set for about 30 minutes, then brushed on a little Mod Podge and a little sprinkle of glitter. For hanging, I added a tiny eye hook from the Dollar Tree picture frame kit sold in the hardware section, then tied on red and white baker's twine to finish them off. And look how cute and whimsical these ornaments turned out. They add such a fun pop of red and white on the tree. Classic Christmas, but still modern, and I love how versatile they are. You can hang them on gifts, add them to garlands, or even fill a glass jar for a festive candy display. They're simple, sweet, and so nostalgic. Exactly what the holidays should feel like. This no DIY where no glue or paint is required was inspired by the Crate and Barrel faux berry stems. I love how they styled them in a simple white vase. So clean and so elegant. And Dollar Tree actually sells a very similar vase in their floral section. The Crate and Barrel stems are stunning, but not for $30 a stem. What I really loved about their version was the simplicity. No leaves, just red berries on brown branches in crisp white vase. The colors play off each other so beautifully. So when I received a $5 reward vouchers from Michaels, I'm still not sure why, but I paid to sign up for those programs. I decided to see what they had, and I found these berry stems for $1.19 each. I grabbed 5, and with my voucher, the entire arrangement only cost me 94 cents because I already had the vase in my stash. I know, girl math. All I needed to do was add some floral foam to the vase and start arranging the stems. It took about 5 minutes and this project was done. And look at this. Such a high-end, effortless look for under $1. You'd never guess the arrangement cost less than a single Crate and Barrel stem. Simple, classic, and so festive. Proof that sometimes the easiest projects makes the biggest statement. This next DIY was inspired by the Crate and Barrel antique brass reindeer ornament. It's such a simple yet elegant piece, and it instantly caught my eye. But instead of spending $40 per ornament, I used the Dollar Tree reindeer, the plastic ones covered in glitter that feel like fabric. They actually have the perfect shape. They just need a little makeover. First, I gave each one a coat of black chalk paint, and because of the material, it dried really quickly, which is perfect for a fast transformation. Then I played around with a few colors, trying to get the aged antique brass finish to match my aesthetic. The winner, Enamel Gold by Folk Art, and I'll leave it linked in the description box below. I brushed it on lightly, letting just enough black peek through to create depth and that true metal look. And here they are on my little tree. I can't believe these once had glitter all over them. The transformation is crazy. They look elegant, classic, and so high-end for just a couple of dollars. Honestly, I'm obsessed. They might be one of my favorite DIYs this season. The next DIY was actually inspired by a TikTok I came across, but of course, I had to take it up a notch, and Dollar Tree has similar versions right now for $7, but we're going to recreate it for just $1.50 using one of their large ornaments. To start, I hot glued 2 mini square pieces of floral foam on each side of the hanger. Then it was time for the fun part, adding the florals. I used a couple of floral picks from my stash and just cut them apart, then hot glued each piece for a secure hold and more dimension. I just kept adding until I was happy with the result. And look how gorgeous these turned out. They look so high-end, honestly like something you find at Neiman's or Bloomingdale's, not made from a $1.50 ornament. You'd never guess they started at Dollar Tree. Packaged right, they make such a beautiful gift, perfect for a hostess or those holiday exchanges. Simply, thoughtful, and totally custom. And we're not done yet. The next one might be my most unexpected transformation. So this next DIY actually came to me while I was in the Dollar Tree. I spotted a pair of these little tree ornaments for $1.50, and while most people see trees, I saw antlers. Turned them upside down, and suddenly I knew exactly what to do with them. A reindeer ornament using one of the larger Dollar Tree ornament balls, just like the previous DIY. And of course, I had to add a little whimsy with a red nose. I already had a jingle bell and some googly eyes in my stash, but you could totally skip the face and keep it simple if that fits your style better. To start, I glued on 2 mini squares of floral foam, same as before, and then attached the tree ornaments as antlers. Once those were secure, I used some leftover greenery and floral pieces to cover the foam and add texture around the antlers. You could stop right there and have a really cute rustic reindeer, but I couldn't resist going full Rudolph. So I glued on the eyes and added a jingle bell red nose, and just like that, it came to life, kind of like Frosty. I love how whimsical and unexpected this one is. A playful twist that still feels high-end. It would make such a fun gift for the Rudolph lover in your life. I know because I have one, and he's getting this tied with a red bow. And for a more neutral, rustic look, here's how it looks without the face. Simple, timeless, and honestly just as beautiful. It's amazing how changing one small detail completely shifts the vibe. The next DIY was inspired by Dollar Tree's new beaded garland. You know, the one with a mix of natural white and red beads. I fell in love with it the second I saw it and grabbed a few strands before they disappeared. And then when I spotted the foam cone forms, it clicked. I had to make a beaded Christmas tree. To start, I added a small dab of hot glue at the bottom and began wrapping the garland around the cone, working my way up. You really don't need much glue, just enough to keep it secure as you go. When I reached the top, I trimmed the strand and filled in the last few spots by gluing on individual beads to finish that clean, polished look. Now for the topper. I couldn't decide at first, but in the end, I reused one of my velvet bows from a previous DIY. It was the perfect topper. And then just one last detail and we were done. The tree needed a trunk. So I pulled out this chunky wood slice I had in my stash, and with some hot glue, this completed the project. And just like that, a gorgeous high-end looking beaded tree that can blend seamlessly into any decor style. Rustic, traditional, modern, it just works. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next Saturday.